Welcome to another exciting episode of Unraveling Intellectual Property with Michael Stein. Today, I am very pleased to have Amanda Stein, no relation, who is CEO of Quantum Catalyzer, which is an R&D organization focused on the advancement of quantum sensing. Thank you for being here, Amanda.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it.
We've worked together for a few years now,
Yeah.
dealing with some intellectual property, primarily on the trademark side. Why don't you tell a little bit about yourself and your company?
Yeah. So I'm originally from Miami, Florida. I was one of those geeks who, instead of moving to New York like all my friends wanted to do, I moved to Washington, D.C., started my career in government and got very quickly jaded, where then I started working in nonprofits, mostly doing corporate relations, which then parlayed into working at the University of Maryland for 9 years. And at the University of Maryland, I worked with faculty members, pretty much creating strategic partnerships across the board with corporations and governments and even some individuals. And one of the things that I got hooked on was startup companies, and I helped several faculty members with their startup companies. In 2019, I was asked to lead the Quantum Technology Center at the University of Maryland from the staff side because they just hired Ron Walsworth, who was a professor at Harvard in quantum physics. And he was coming to University of Maryland to be a professor of electrical and computer engineering and physics and lead the Quantum Technology Center. So I worked for Ron for several years at the university. And at some point, we kind of looked at each other and said, hey, this is really great what we're doing here, but we should probably go do a startup with some of the great technology that he was working on in his lab. And that's how Quantum Catalyzer came to be. QCAT, as we go by, is mostly focused on research and development that bridges the gap between labs and application. So there's really great fundamental research, specifically in quantum sensing and quantum physics, happening all across the world. But the commercialization is something that academia is not very good at. So we at QCAT like to think that we're this bridge that post-academic work can come into us. And then if it makes sense at some point through
Right,
market
pardon me for
research.
interrupting, but
Oh,
you
yeah.
say post-academic, like how does that come to you?
Yeah, so I have to admit we started a lot with Ron Walsworth's work.
Yeah.
He had been kind of the serial entrepreneur as well and really kind of understood what it took to commercialize work coming out of his lab and then bring it into a market. So one of the companies that he helped start was a company called Hyperfine that a entrepreneur named Jonathan Rothberg came to him going back almost 20 years ago now and said, we want to build a portable MRI. And that was something that Ron was working on at the time from kind of the physics side. And he was able to license the technology from Harvard and then working with Ron as a co-founder and another one of his colleagues named Matthew Rosen, and then Jonathan Rothberg, they founded this company called Hyperfine, which is now on the New York Stock Exchange. And through that whole process is where Ron really started to think about what type of other technology could I commercialize out of my lab. So whereas QCAT right now has been focused on Ron's work, and he is one of the leading experts in something called nitrogen vacancy and diamond quantum sensing. Happy to go into that a little bit further. That has kind of been our focus. As QCAT grows one day, we'd love to look for other promising work that could be potentially commercialized. But for now, due to limited time, space, money, all of that, we've been focusing specifically on nitrogen vacancy and diamond quantum sensing.
And so when you take it, you say you've got this academic work through Ron and these other sources, then you were talking about bridging the gap. So what do you mean by bridging the gap?
Yeah, and as I was saying before, that academics are very good at a lot of fundamental research and even a lot of this translational research. And those words are could be just kind of words, but really what they mean is that there's research that's happening that can potentially have really significant applications. But these major applications or what's going to become a product really doesn't happen in academia. It's not academia that is going to sell a product one day. And so what we like to do at Quantum Catalyzer is saying, let's take a promising idea that might have legs in an academia and bring it into something post-academic where we can work on it for several years or several months if it's really, really promising, but several years through partnerships with government and industry, maybe get some SBIRs, maybe get some focused R&D grants from some companies, and really see if that technology has legs. And then if it does, it can create a spin-out company. So now Quantum Catalyzer has done that twice over the last 5 years.
When you say like this bridging the gap, are you coming up with the ideas for the commercialization and then trying to promote it to actual producers, or any producers coming to you and saying, we like your general technology, can we work together to develop something?
Yeah, it's actually kind of a little bit of both. Usually, as it's leaving the lab, and in this case, it's both of these technologies have been within Ron Walsworth's lab. We've had some focused applications that we wanted to pursue, and so when we bring it into Quantum Catalyzer, we start doing the partnerships and the research to say, okay, who do we want to talk to? At the same time, through just kind of word of mouth or through academic papers or whatnot, or even partnerships that were created in the lab, they might come and follow the technology into Quantum Catalyzer.
Well, what's your roles? I mean, I know CEO. I mean,
Yeah,
are you like big picture? Are you getting your hands
no,
dirty?
yeah,
Are
no,
you
I
talking to
am.
companies? Are you trying to raise money? Like, what's a typical day in the life of Amanda Stein?
Yeah, there's no typical. So I am not a physicist at all. My background, as I mentioned, was in political science. I have a master's in management, and then I actually finished a PhD just recently in information studies that focused on the applications of quantum science. So though I don't have this full science background, I am very well versed and have been working even before here at University of Maryland trying to translate a science into real world things. So I am definitely big picture here. I was involved with the creation of the company once I left University of Maryland, and I do pretty much all the day-to-day operations for Quantum Catalyzer. I helped get the two startup companies off the ground through fundraising and through helping with the product development and marketing of the first product we did, the quantum diamond microscope, and then forward thinking, looking for grants and then looking for funding. I spend a lot of my day looking for funding.
What type of funding? Friends and
We,
family type,
I mean,
or
yeah, yeah. So,
anybody?
I mean, we want the
How
right
much do you
partners.
need, right?
Yeah,
I got.
seriously. Yeah. So Quantum Catalyzer got started with a couple of venture firms who were interested in this bigger idea of commercialization that invested in Quantum Catalyzer back in the early days in 2021. We have not taken any further investment within Quantum Catalyzer, though we would like to. We're just looking for some of the right partners there. Then our startup companies have both raised money or in the process of raising money. So the first startup company that we got going in 2022 is called Euclid, and it got started with a very small seed round from a quantum-focused investor. And then now it's actually going up for its first price round after a couple of years, once the technology's been validated and they have a lot of partners. The goal is to, in probably about 18 months, go up for a bigger Series A. And then the second company that has just gotten started in the last couple months, named Arc Sensors, is in the process of finalizing a $3 million round, which is still open if anybody is interested in talking about it. But
I'll put up
getting,
information
yeah,
at the end
yeah,
if they want to contact you.
yeah, that would be
Yeah.
great. And so I spend a lot of my time helping with the fundraising for both of those.
And with you say that we have these startups. You have what kind of ownership do you have in those startups?
Yeah, so we hold equity. It varies, of course, based on the logistic,
Right.
legal, all the legal stuff. We pay
And
a
who's
lawyer.
one of
Exactly.
my previous podcast interviewees, Joel Need. if I can hopefully use his name, is
Yeah.
helping you out on that regard. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Joel's been our attorney since day one, and actually he has been really wonderful in helping us envision this structure, and has been helping us with everything that we've been doing since we've gotten started. So as far as equity goes, QCAT does hold equity in the two startup companies that we have founded. Of course, it's based on how much investments come in and getting
yeah.
diluted and things like that. But that's part of the model that we have here.
Let's take a break, end of part one, and we'll continue with part two in a little
Yeah.
bit. Thank you, everyone. Please tune back in for part two.